But for the government, Randy had the makings of a perfect undercover informant, a slightly crazy person who was friends with far crazier people, a family man with bad finances. How could he turn them down? In fact, Randy made a big show of turning them down.
Mr. Weaver, we can get you on 6 or 7 federal firearms violations, but we'd probably forego that if you'd join our team. And I just kind of, I don't think so. And he just come clear across the seat and got right in my face. He says, well, that's the way we do it, right? He says, tomorrow morning, 11 o'clock, you'll be down in Spokane Federal Building, and don't tell anybody you're coming, not even your wife. About that time, Vicki come walking out of the cabin by me and say, hey, Vic, come here. She walked over to the truck and said, remember their names and faces. They go, we got to go. Peeled out of the gravel, throwing rocks, took off. They knew I wasn't coming down Spokane the next day.
Randy was indicted on the shotgun charge, feeling that he'd been coerced into committing a crime by a tyrannical government controlled by the New World Order. He decided not to show up in court. The family buried their heads in the sand. Randy let it be known that he would not be taken off the mountain alive. A family friend called Kevin Harris moved in with them.
I knew I was going to lose. They had me set up, white supremacist, gun runner, blah, 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 and those people that they put on juries in North Idaho are the local brainwashed county, city fathers and mothers that will suck up and do it. If the government told them to go down Monday morning and get a walking license and pay $10 a year for it, they'd do it. From then on, I never left that property.
Pretty neat view, huh?
It was as if Randy and Vicky's conspiracy theories were coming true. They had moved to the mountains to escape a tyrannical government, and a tyrannical government was now coming to get them. The family took to carrying guns at all times, even the children. They became increasingly convinced that the army of the New World Order was watching them from the bushes. In fact, they were being watched from the bushes.
I have to remember they were under surveillance after a period of time because Randy tried to apprehend Randy previously and not been successful. But were I closeted up on the mountain with just my family and already feeling persecuted and I know someone's watching me, my paranoia is going to increase, whether I think it's going to or not.
See, most paranoid people think they're being watched and they're not.
Right.
Here was somebody who's built.
They were actually being watched, so yeah, they're on a high alert. So any little thing that occurs becomes a big thing.
Can you hear that? Somebody's on their way up. Oh, see, now if we were out at the rock, I could run out and see who it is. Somebody going up higher. It's too overgrown for me to see, but they're already on their way up. And that's what we do every time we hurt somebody. Jeez. Something so simple can bring back the excitement.
Then the marshals come because he's avoiding arrest. They're not going to just walk away and say, oh, well, sure, you don't want to be arrested. We'll see you around. And you can't dispute the fact the man had a sawed-off shotgun and he tried to sell it to an undercover agent. You can call it entrapment or whatever you want, but he did it.
Due to the remoteness of his location in the mountain, it was decided that we just kind of take a wait-and-see attitude because, again, he had 3 kids up there. And the last thing we wanted to, well, the baby came along later. And maybe in retrospect waited too long. Of course, time went on and a year went on. And the last thing that the Marshal Service wanted to do was to get into a situation where kids could get involved. And then it still fell apart.
I don't have a lot of memories about me and Sam because we never really hung out together. One thing is, the day before everything happened, he had gone down to collect the seeds from his radish plants because they were really huge, just really good radishes, and he was going to plant some next year. Well, I followed him down there to talk to him and watch him or whatever, and he's all, leave me alone, quit following me, whatever. And I went behind this blown over tree where the root was really big, and I was sitting there crying. And he came over and apologized to me and said he loved me and everything. And I guess that's what I remember most about him because he had never said anything like that to me.
The marshals were up there doing the same thing they'd been doing off and on for the last 3 months. They had cameras up there. Of course, Randy had found one of the cameras. and it destroyed it. And they got too close to the cabin, and the dogs got a scent of them, and the dogs started chasing. The deputies started running down the hill, and then the shots were fired.
If I'd had any idea that these federal marshals were doing, they was out there dinking around, I'd have never, I wouldn't have gone out there myself, but I sure as hell wouldn't have let Sam and Kevin go running and chasing that dog after federal marshals. I mean, that'd be stupid. That was stupid. But so I go down this logging road, down to the area they call the Y. I hear clunk, clunk, clunk. I look, and here's this guy jumps out in front of me, total cameled out. I mean, I saw his eyes and I saw his mouth move, and he yelled, "Freeze, Weaver." I said, "You." I was yelling for the boys. Boys, get home, boys. It's an ambush, right? I heard Sam yell, "I'm coming, Dad." Boom, 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 boom. Then it opened up.
The deputy started running down the hill. Randy, Kevin Harris, and Sammy Weaver started chasing them down. The dogs started coming down. They got to a Y. The deputies stopped, and shots got fired. The dog was definitely shot.
One of the agents shot Stryker in the back and hit his spine, and little Samuel, who raised the dog from a pup, saw him run around in circles yiping and then fall dead. Sammy opened fire on the agents that had shot his dog and said, "You guys killed my dog," and he opened fire and shot several times. And as it turned out, he didn't hit anybody. But then when they of course fired back at him with military rifles, these automatic fire rifles, and almost cut his left arm off. Now remember, he was about the size of a 10-year-old boy, you know, small. So they shot his left arm to where it was just hanging by the flesh, and little Samuel turned around and ran up the mountain and screamed to his dad, "I'm coming home, Dad." And at that time, my fellow officers took a MP5 machine gun and just sprayed him right up the back as he's running away and murdered him right there.
One of the U.S. Marshals, Bill Deegan, was also killed in the gunfight that followed Sammy's death.
We were all standing up on that rock that overlooks our driveway, and it was just, Mom and Sarah and I, and Dad was up there with us by now. We just let out a cry and just broke down. And I remember Dad fired Mom's .223 into the air, full clip.
So, I mean, what happened after that?
Mom, I think it was right after that, Mom said, "We gotta go get him." And so Mom and Dad went down, and Kevin went with them. And I went in the house and got Elizabeth dressed. And I never saw him. They put him in the guest shed, and Dad and Mom went in and cleaned him up and wrapped him in a sheet, I guess.
It's a bad deal. You know, I didn't give a shit about nothing after that. I still don't, pretty much.
See, I don't remember days. To me, it's just all one. It's like one long bad day.
Vicky Weaver wrote in her diary that night that Sam was killed while chasing the servants of the New World Order. A U.S. Marshal had been killed, so his team called for backup. A 400-strong army descended on the cabin. They sealed off the mountain. 2 miles away, down in the valley, the neighbours began a protest at the roadblock. Martial law was declared by the state governor, who called the Weaver cabin an extreme emergency and disaster area.
Good afternoon. A federal agent has been shot and killed in a confrontation with a fugitive in North Idaho.
We started listening to the news that night. Oh, crazy bastard, you know, white supremacists murder U.S. Marshal. Yeah, right. We murdered him. Yeah, wrong. This is a big deal now. Crazy white supremacists, and they got a dead cop. Whoa, this cop is worth more than my son? I don't think so. He ain't even worth more than my dog.
Were you aware of just how many troops turned up after that?
No, hell no.
The military operation was undertaken with such stealth that besides from hearing a few sirens down in the valley, the Weaver family had no idea that their cabin was now surrounded by FBI snipers.
I think it's one of these things that a couple agent friends of mine, when we get together for lunch, it never fails. This comes up at every lunch. And well, wonder if we would have done this, or well, who said that?